Her triumphs. I took a group of women that didn't believe in themselves, and I just believed in them. Her trials.
I never wanted to go to practice. I was losing a ton of weight.
Her story.
I just put my faith in God and just trusted the system.
Her why.
I want people to see what I did and say, oh, that's so awesome. I'm going to be better than that. That would be how I hope that this journey ends.
This is Her Why, where we tell the stories from BYU women's sports. Here is your host, Lauren McLean.
We're so excited to have you here with us on Her Why, where we celebrate the amazing women who make BYU sports great and continue to shine far beyond campus. Joining me today is Jessica Kehl, a BYU cheer alum, professional photographer, Aerialympics champion, NBA halftime performer, wife to former BYU linebacker Brian Kehl, and mother of 3. Jessica, thank you so much for being here with me.
Absolutely. I'm so excited
that
to be
was
here.
a lot.
I
That's
know.
a lot.
I'm laughing over here.
You mentioned that you live 10 different lives.
Yes.
We're going to start with your aerialist life, okay?
Okay.
You're very good at a lot of things. Most recently, though, you've been involved in Finding Neverland at the Hale Center Theater, where you performed aerial work. What did your role entail in that production?
So at Hale, I'm like a aerialist specialist. So whenever they want something in the air, that's what I'm going to do. But I also get put into the ensemble at times. Well, yeah, in a lot of the scenes. And so I have to sing and dance as well, which is kind of more out of my comfort zone, but I do it. So yeah, I'm just part of the cast, but also I fly in the air.
That's amazing. So you're a singer as well. I knew you were a dancer because you were a cheerleader, but you sing.
I think if the people from Hale were listening, they would be laughing. I try to sing. I mean, I take lessons, but it's a whole nother thing. I mean, the musical theater people I have so much respect for. Their voices are incredible, and I am just trying to blend. I'm fighting for my life out there just to blend with them.
Well, you do incredible things. You've been involved with the Hale Center Theater in Sandy before. How many productions have you done with them so far?
This is my 5th.
Wow.
I just finished my 5th show with them. So I did Seussical, Tarzan, Little Mermaid, Around the World in 80 Days, and now Finding Neverland. Yeah.
So how did you first get involved at the Hale?
With the Hale?
Yes.
So I had been training aerial for quite a few years, and I met my friend Sam. She's also an aerialist, and she owns Aerobatics. And we actually ended up, that's who I won the Aerialympics with as a duo partner. But we ended up duoing a lot, and she just said, I'd never performed before. I did aerial just for like a fun workout in my mind. So I just kind of oh, this is fun. I like doing it. And she was like, you should audition. You would be great at Hale. And so she kind of got it in my mind, and then the rest is history.
It's such a unique thing that you do. I feel
It
very few
really
people do that. So what first sparked your interest in doing aerial work?
You know, I always tell Brian, I say, you didn't know you married a circus freak? Because I didn't start doing it until after we were married. And it's so funny. My first time doing it, it was a girls' trip. So we were living in New York. Brian was playing for the New York Giants, and people would come visit us. And I was kind of sick of going to all the really touristy spots. Everyone would be like, let's go to the Statue of Liberty. And I was like, I will find something more interesting to do than that for you. And so I found the circus class, and I was like, let's all go to the circus class. I went with a couple of my friends, Christy Miller, who was a Cougarette, and then a couple of my roommates from college, Sarah Fowler. And anyway, we went and did the circus class. And when I was there, I was like, I love this. It's so fun. So everywhere we lived, I just kept finding these classes and training. And I trained all across the country. And so my vocabulary is all messed up. I don't know. I'm like, people are like, can you do this move? I'm like, show it to me, and then I will tell you. But yeah, that's how I started. It's so funny.
You got bored in New York City, looking for
Bored.
something new.
Yeah, just trying
Oh my
to
gosh.
entertain my friends.
Well, you already have the flexibility and a lot of the things that you need to get into that. But how did your husband and kids react when you were like, hey, I really love this and I want to do more of this?
Yeah. Brian's always been so awesome at supporting me in it. And I'm not even sure that I like even sat down and had a full conversation. Like, I think I just went and did it. Like, I'm just like, hey, guess what? I'm going to be in a show. And he's
Yeah.
like, okay, what? Wait, what are you doing? And it actually wasn't too bad when years ago when I did my first show, my kids were really young. And so I wasn't really missing out on a ton because the show started at 7:30. They were almost in bed by the time I would leave,
Yeah.
But now I feel like it's a little bit harder. They have their own lives, their own sports. My kids are really into their stuff. And so it's gotten a little bit trickier balancing everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you learn how to be an aerialist? Because I mean, I've never even heard of that class. Like, I feel like that's not publicized a ton. Like, come to this aerialist class. So how do you find those classes?
Yeah, you really have to look for it. It actually, I feel like the popularity of it has just skyrocketed since I started years ago. It's just really, really gotten more popular. And I train at aerobatics, which is one of the biggest gyms in Utah. And my friend, Lance and Sam Nielsen, they own it. And they were actually my doubles in Finding Neverland. So at Hale,
Oh, cool.
we don't do understudies, we do doubles where we just switch casts. But so anyway, just that's how you kind of have to search it out. You have to find your own classes. But also I have a really amazing choreographer and coach, Ramsey. Ramsey Stoker, I should say her whole name. But she is the choreographer at Hale. And she really has taken me under her wing and trained me in all sorts of things I didn't even know I could do. I mean, I mostly trained silks, which is like, the ribbon, people call it the ribbons or whatever. That's what I trained. But at the Hale shows, you have to be able to do other apparatus. And she's been able, honestly, I don't know how she's been able to teach me how to do all of this stuff. Like in this last show, Finding Neverland, I did a full straps or loops duet, and I'd never even touched them before the show. So I don't know how she's able to do that, but she's amazing. And she actually, this is such a weird full circle thing, but when I was in college, she was performing with Odyssey Dance Theater. And I remember going to a show and everyone just like, it just in the crowd, like I could hear like, oh, Ramsey's here. Ramsey's, they have this special like performer, Ramsey. And then I saw her perform silks.
Wow.
And so when I went and did my first lesson in New York, that was actually a flying trapeze lesson. But I did, and I loved it. I love flying trapeze. But when I was there, I saw the silks and I was like, oh yeah, I remember Ramsey doing that. And I was like, I would like to try that. And then when I came, so in New York, I did the flying trapeze. But then when I came to Utah, I look up flying trapeze. Well, there's nowhere that does flying trapeze, but they had a place that did silks. So that's when I started doing silks. It was just a little bit easier, more accessible to find places to train silks than flying trapeze.
So the silks are the ribbons that come down.
Yeah.
And then you were mentioning at the Hale for this past show, Finding Neverland, you had to do, it's like a hoop, right? I was seeing on your Instagram, and you got to basically learn how to do that.
Yeah, that's the lyra or a hoop. There's all sorts of apparatus.
Wow.
Yeah, we actually did a chandelier, like a specialty chandelier, which is something like none of us had been in before, but they built that for us. So it's kind of fun. It's like a lot of problem solving at times. Like, okay, you have like a certain vocabulary of moves you can do, but it's once you get onto a different apparatus, it can be totally different. It just depends.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're learning new skills every show.
Every show.
Has there ever been a moment where you're like, what am I doing 20 feet in the air?
Yes.
Hanging down? Like, does it ever kind of get to you just a little bit? Like your nerves?
Yes. I am like the weirdest mix of like love it and like live for it and adrenaline junkie and like cautious in my head crazy. Like I am both And it is the weirdest balance. I honestly think I get that from my dad. My dad is totally like that. He's like 100% thrill seeker, but also like totally afraid of heights. So it's like, that's me. I've always had like mental struggles. Like even in cheerleading, I had like, and gymnastics, I had little like mental things. And I just think too much about stuff. But I found ways to cope with that over the years, and I feel like I'm pretty good at it now.
What would you say is the hardest part physically about performing aerial work? Because you have the grip, you have core strength and endurance. What is the hardest part about it?
The thing that people don't realize about aerial work is it is extremely painful.
Oh.
It's especially when you're on the metal apparatuses. So those are just, it's like, it really is like 80% pain tolerance. So,
Oh my gosh.
yeah. And you're just like,
You are crazy, Jessica.
yes, I know. I tried to get one of my best friends, and actually my co-captain at the BYU cheer squad, I was like, you have to do this with me. You have to, like, because I know her skill set and I know she could do this stuff. And she was like, Jess, this is so painful. And the other thing that's kind of tough too is the spin tolerance. So like being able to spin a lot without like losing your balance, getting sick, all of that. That's one of the tougher things too. And she was like, I am so sick. Like, I don't want to do this with you in the nicest of ways. I'm like, okay. I won't bug you anymore. But
Yeah, because you and I, we're not young bucks anymore. And even just swinging on the swing with my kids, I'm like, woo, getting a little nauseous here, guys. I don't know how you, I don't know how you spin like that.
It's a different game as you get older. You just really have to train different. You really have to take care of your body. And things are harder. And it's a mental game of like, okay, I need to set myself up for success. And with the spin tolerance, that's one of the things too. And I get sick, but it's just, it builds. You have to just build on it. But I do think as I get older, it gets harder. Yeah.
So how do you, with the physical pain and kind of some of your fears mentally, how do you gear up for one of your performances so you're all there and ready to perform?
Oh, I don't need to gear up. I love it. I live for it. It's like an adrenaline rush. In this last show, every time we did just this fun number on the chandeliers where we got to push them over the crowd, and I would just get so excited to do that every night. And I loved my straps duet. I honestly, I live for it. I love it. I don't have to gear up. I just like have to plan and make sure my body's good. I do physical therapy. I do a lot of stretching. That's probably like the biggest thing is like my stretching and preparation. When I was 20, it was like nothing.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, oh, I could stretch for an hour and still not be ready.
I need it.
Yeah. So
have you ever taught Brian or your kids any of your aerial skills?
Oh, with Brian, that is my pipe dream. I just think, we could be
trapeze artists.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like a duo of all time. Like just picture us out there. We could do it. And I tell him all the time and he is just like, oh, no, thanks.
Not gonna do it.
But I have had him in the gym before, and I have signed up my kids for classes here and there. My oldest daughter, she is like, I like to be on the ground. She does not like any of that. So she did come up with a circus ground act, which is so funny. And then my youngest daughter, I still have a little hope that she might be into it. But so far, Brian's kind of had her in track and soccer. So we'll see.
Which are also good things, I guess.
Yeah, she's really good at that. So, yeah.
Well, on top of all those shows, you're also an Aerialympics champion, which is so cool. How did you get into a competition like that?
Okay, so Aerialympics is a really cool name. I just want to disclaimer, it is not the Olympics, okay? It's just a aerial competition. And, during 2020, well, it was kind of after 2020, there wasn't a lot of like shows happening and not a lot of ways to perform. And so with my aerial partner, Sam, I kind of, she probably didn't want to do it, but I was like, let's go compete. We had a really great act that we'd come up with. It was a duo tippy lyra, which is kind of a weird apparatus. But
What does that mean?
Well, it's a lyra, so it's like a hoop,
Okay.
but it's tippy, so it rotates and spins around. Wow. So it's really tricky. Like, it's a really tricky one to balance. And Sam and I, we have like almost the exact same build and body, and so we're like really good doubles, and we're really good partners. And so we'd come up with this kind of a cool routine. And so I just thought, I'm like, I just think we could compete, and I really think we could win. And she's like, Jess, no. But you know me, I'm all gas, no brakes. So we did it. I talked her into it. We did it, and we won. It was so fun.
Wow.
And then we took that same routine, and we were able to perform it at the halftime of the Jazz.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So where was the competition at?
So it was 2020. So it was remote.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So like,
so people were,
you had to record yourself doing it.
it
in
was
your
a
own
live,
gym.
it was a live recording, and we had to do it in our own gym. Yeah. But I mean, people from all over the world were competing, you know.
That's incredible.
So it was kind of cool.
Do you know what the competition was like? Like how many other competitors there were?
I literally don't. Like, it was such a weird thing. I never saw because a lot of these competitions, you get to see everyone that's competing, and this was just so, I mean, it was so COVID that it was like we didn't really get to see anyone perform. And then even though awards were like online, it was just kind of a weird thing. But they mailed me my medal, and I have it in my closet.
You are still a champion.
So
it doesn't
I just
matter
have
when it
to
took
put
place.
it up there, you know.
I think that is so amazing. So then you mentioned you got to perform at halftime of the Utah Jazz game. So how does performing for a sports crowd compare to performing for like a live theater audience?
Oh, it's totally different. Actually, all three. Okay, so a sports crowd, a musical theater audience, and then like an aerialist performance.
Yeah.
All three totally different like types of routines you would do. Yeah.
Which one, do you have a preference, or do you like all of them for different reasons?
You know what? I don't have a preference per se, but one of the most special routines I did was when I performed halftime at BYU just a year ago. It was just kind of like a cool full circle moment. It's fun to do like a solo, and then just to do it in that space. I feel like a lot of aerialists kind of struggle to like perform to that kind of a crowd because they're used to like performing for aerialists,
right?
You know, but I think because I had that cheerleader background of being here, I just know the space so well.
Yeah.
You know, having been to like so many professional sports and whatnot, I kind of knew exactly what to do and how to make that performance exciting enough for a big crowd like that.
Was it during a basketball game?
A basketball game, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's incredible. We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we'll continue our conversation with former BYU cheerleader turned aerialist, Jessica Kehl. This is Her Why. What's up, guys? This is Lauren McLean from Her Why and Royal Legacy. If you like my podcast, make sure you check out Big Stories, hosted by Cleon Wall. There are around 50 different tales told over 2 seasons. You'll feel elevated and encouraged by the Big Stories podcast. Find it wherever you get podcasts or on the BYU radio app. Welcome back to Her Why. I'm Lauren McLean, continuing my conversation with former BYU cheerleader turned aerialist, Jessica Kehl. All right, Jessica, so you grew up in Draper, Utah. What was your family like growing up?
I'm the only girl of 3 brothers.
Okay.
So lots of sports and my dad was a diver and a wrestler.
Wow.
I know. And my parents went to BYU, and my mom, she's just like the cutest. Everybody loves her. She's the most friendliest person you've ever met. And yeah, I came to BYU cheer camps growing up. I did gymnastics growing up, but I would come to these BYU cheer camps, and I guess my mom always tells me the story, but I don't remember it. But she's like, you told me that you were going to cheer at BYU. I'm like, okay. And I just did.
I don't remember, but
yeah.
But you do seem like somebody that really goes after what they want. So I believe that. You just manifested that as a little girl and
did.
it happened.
I manifested all of it, I guess.
So was gymnastics not something you wanted to pursue? Was it always kind of cheerleading in the back of your mind?
No. So I did gymnastics and dance growing up, and I loved gymnastics, but I wasn't like the best at it. And so when I got to high school, I had quite a few friends that were doing cheerleading, and they were like, you should come try out for cheer. And I was like, sure. I literally didn't even know what it was. I'm not even joking. I remember going to my first camp and they were like doing real stunting. And I was like, whoa, we lift each other? Like, what are we doing? I didn't even know that was part. Like, I knew there was like tumbling and dance,
Yeah.
but I didn't know the whole scene. But I ended up loving it and living for it. So
That's incredible.
it was so fun. And cheering at BYU was like the best experience.
Well, I was going to say, obviously you picked up on it really quickly and did very well in order to become a cheerleader at BYU. Mm-hmm. Did you always have a dream of performing in one way or another?
Yeah, you know what? I think that I do love performing. But it's funny, I feel like that's secondary for me. I just like have fun doing tricks and whatever. I don't know. I love training. I love challenging myself to try to get a new skill. Like that is just really fun for me. And then if the performing comes, it comes.
What originally drew you to BYU and their cheer team?
I mean, I think my parents going to BYU. It's so funny because I don't remember thinking that much about it. My senior year, I actually had a really bad accident and hurt my arm really, really bad. And I was going to apply to a bunch of schools, and the only application I had finished before that was to BYU.
Wow.
So I didn't end up applying anywhere else. And honestly, it didn't even hit me until I got the letter. Back then you got like a letter in the mail. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, if I don't make it in, I don't have any backup. I better make it in. So luckily I did. And I'm like, I still can't believe my mom let me just do
one
application. That's wild.
She probably knew you well enough to know you were going to make it.
Oh.
So then you had a tryout, right, for the for the cheerleading team. What was that process like for you?
Super nerve-wracking. When I was coming in, there was this coach, Jocelyn Allen. She ended up leaving, and then eventually she came back, and then we were getting a new coach, Nicole Pratt. Both amazing coaches. Really, really lucky that I got to have amazing coaches while I was here. But yeah, I remember at tryouts, part of cheerleading tryouts is stunting, and part of stunting, like, you need a good partner.
Yeah.
And I was just so shy. I wasn't really like asking the right people to partner with me. And I remember Jocelyn taking me to the side and she's like, don't stunt with that guy anymore. Go over there and you're stunting with this guy. And I mean, looking back, I'm like, if I wouldn't have done that, I wouldn't have made it, you know? So I really have to hand it to her for like seeing my talent and then just, you know, showing me like, okay, you need to go over here.
She saw something in you.
Yeah.
And helped you out.
Yeah, it's so cool.
You were a BYU cheerleader for 5 years. When you look back at that time, what stands out to you the most?
Oh, I don't know. That's a really tough question. There's something really special about BYU. There's something really special here. And just being able to be at the big games and the coolest atmospheres, I love watching sports. And so being able to be like right there on the sideline, seeing it all firsthand, I mean, there's nothing like it. It was so fun. And I also had great teammates and just really special people that helped me the whole time I was here.
So at some point in there, you met Brian, right? Your husband, Brian.
Yes.
How did the two of you meet?
That's a great question. I can't wait for Brian to hear this. We have differing stories.
Oh, no.
But I would say that I remember seeing him at a football game and being like, who is that guy? He is so good looking. But also I I had a very serious boyfriend. So I wasn't like really looking for anything. So anyway, I remember seeing him here and there, whatever. Honestly, the cheerleaders and the football players, we really just don't even talk to each other or see each other.
And that's not what people would think. Because it's like the classic football player and cheerleader. You think they interact all the time, but you're saying they don't.
Not really. I mean, maybe it's different now, but back then we really didn't. And so I knew who he was, but I didn't really know him very well. I would say we were like acquaintances maybe. And so anyway, he had heard that I had broken up with my boyfriend and he called me. But you know how there's like breakups where you're like not really broken up? Yeah. You're like, are we going to get married? So he called me and asked me out and I told him no. I wasn't totally, anyway, it's a long story. But anyway, eventually after years, like literally years.
Really?
He asked me out right before he left, basically. So we went on like maybe 1 or 2 dates before he left to go train for the NFL.
Wow.
So it's so funny because I feel like people thought, like I'm on the sidelines cheering on my boyfriend.
Right.
But it wasn't that at all. I feel like we were like lived very adjacent, like BYU lives. It's so weird. We have like a lot of the same like experiences that we shared, but not together. Like I'm like, oh, I remember that game, but it wasn't like we were connected until after he left. So
then you guys had to start doing the long distance thing.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
So at what point were you like, did you realize what kind of life it was going to entail if you kept dating this guy who was in the NFL?
Oh, yeah, I don't know. I mean, our dating was so on and off and so sporadic. And I don't even think anything could prepare you for the life of the NFL. I mean, I heard a little bit, but it was quite an experience once we actually like got married and I moved out there with him and I got to see kind of what it's like. It's very intense. The NFL is like cutthroat. So it was a great experience, but it was also a tough experience.
Yeah. So what did you do to help with all that change? Because that's a lot, right? And then you have this husband who's super, super busy and ingrained in what he's doing. Mm-hmm. And then now you're with them and you're like, where am I? Who am I? And who are these people, right? So what helped you with that transition and change?
Yeah, I think anytime you're finishing up a sport or something that you're really, like really into, and then all of a sudden it's over, it's kind of a tough transition. And I did that at the same time as like moving to New York and getting married and all of the stuff. So it was a hard transition, but I'm always pretty good at like finding a new thing. So yeah, when we went out there, I ended up like auditioning for like the Brooklyn Nets cheer team.
Oh wow.
And I made that cheer team, but then he got cut, so I like never really did that. I mean, I went to a few practices or whatever, but I don't know. I'm always like trying to do something for me. I don't know. I think it's just important to try to keep your own identity because it's easy to get lost. Like, I mean, I remember being at so many like events with Brian where it's like, I don't think a single person really cared what I said or thought, but everyone just want to talk to him, which is great. Like, I don't care taking a back seat. I'm a great supporter, like cheerleader. But it's also like good mentally for me to have something that I'm working on, something that I'm looking forward to.
So was that ever difficult for you, times like that, when you're like, hey, I'm here too? Or did you kind of understand what was going on at the time? Meaning you knew your worth enough.
I wouldn't say it was difficult for me. I feel like as a cheerleader, you are just so used to playing that supporting role. Like, I mean, cheerleaders, we're like definitely athletes, but not really treated the same. You know what I mean? Because people don't see like the competitive side. They just see you in that supporting role, like at games where you're just cheering on other people. And so I don't know, that's just second nature to me to cheer on others. And so that was fine. But I just also like something for me to like drive me. And I think that's a big reason why I also got into circus stuff, is just like something interesting to me, something to work at, something to get better at.
Well, something you're also into and very good at is photography. One of your 10 lives that you live, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
How did you first get into that?
So I would say in middle school, I went to a artsy private school. And so they had a really, really good photographer there. And I loved it. I didn't think I would end up majoring in it at BYU, but it just kind of, that's what happened. I got here and it was very competitive to get into the program. I mean, I think back then they only took like 15 students.
Wow.
So I didn't think I would get in, but I did. And then, I just kind of went on that path and finished up with that. I loved it. It was a tricky major for me. Like I always say it was like Project Runway. Like it's like every week in every photography class you had a project due, and then they would pin them on the board.
Wow.
And then they would compare everybody's against each other, and it didn't matter. It's hard for me because like I like to put in the work and then get results. Like that's how my brain works. And sometimes with photography, you could put in all the hours and all the work, and your professor could just not like something about your photo.
Right.
And so that was like actually kind of tough for me to to get through that major, just because it's so subjective.
Right.
And that's just not how I am.
But that is something that you continued to pursue right after, and you still do professional photography right now. How do you feel like that helped you fulfill that creative side of you when, you had a lot of change happening in your life, especially with Brian's career?
I've always had a creative side to me, and I love, like, I can get lost in photos. Sometimes I'll do a shoot that I just like am obsessed with, and I'll just look at it over and over. I don't know. I've always had just like an eye for it, and I truly enjoy it, and I actually really like the editing of it. And this is where my older brother, Austin, he's like, "You're such an introvert." I'm like, "I am literally the most extroverted person." I know. I mean, besides my brother, but he's like, the fact that you can just sit for hours and do something on the computer. I'm like, yeah, I love doing that too. So, and I love the control of it. Like, I love being behind the camera.
Yeah.
I have a harder time when people are taking pictures of me. I'm like, why are you doing it that way? And
You're doing everything wrong.
I would have done it over here. And I don't know.
I love that.
Yeah.
Now that you're in a stage of life where you are performing and doing all these beautiful things, what's it like having Brian there to support you in your passions?
It is just the funniest thing. I think he is just such a good husband. Like, he really, honestly, like, there's so many times that my friends say to me, like, my husband would never let me do all of this. And he really doesn't ever give me like a hard time about it. It's always like, yeah, no problem. Yeah, okay, I got this. He's not like the most vocal about, like, he's not like, wow, you did amazing. Like, he won't ever give me that, which I'm always like, didn't you just think that was like a little bit cool? Like,
Come on, Brian.
yeah.
Come on, Brian.
Yeah, but that's not how he is. He's not like that. But he's just so supportive and amazing though. He's not in a verbal way.
But I mean, I think a lot of men are like that, to be fair.
Well, you want to know what my favorite is? He's just never gonna tell you like what you want to hear. Like he just,
because he knows it. That's what you want to hear. So he's stubborn about it, or what?
that, and then also he just like he cannot lie. He just cannot lie, and so sometimes like I just can't wait till Brian comes to my, like, when I work on like a show like at Hale or whatever. I can't wait till he comes and sees the show, because he will tell me exactly what he thinks about it. And then I'll tell the people backstage and they are dying. They're just like, what? And I'm like, yes. Because all of their, loved ones, they're like, you're amazing. That was great.
Right.
Blah, blah, blah. And Brian's like, well, this was slow. And then he's like, that was okay. He was like, I would give it a 2 out of 10,
My God.
He's like, he's a pretty harsh critic. So I always get like excited to see what he's gonna say, because it's like it's exactly what he thinks.
Hey.
He's gonna tell me exactly what he thinks.
You have to have someone in your life that will tell you that, I think.
He's the guy for that.
Well, you're a mom of 3.
Mm-hmm.
How would you say motherhood has changed your perspective on your own passions and your identity?
Motherhood has changed me in every single way. It's almost hard to describe. I'm sure you understand as a mom. It's just like you gain a capacity for things that you never thought you would, and you have a love for someone else more than you've loved anything else in your whole life. And so my kids bring me more joy than anything, and they're everything to me, and they've pushed me to become a better person. And I just feel like it's hard for me to even think of how I was before as a mom. Mm-hmm. And it's like, you just grow so much as a person being a mom. It's one of the hardest, best things you could ever do.
Yeah. You have no choice.
Yeah.
But to adapt and to learn and to grow. But
yeah. And you gain a perspective, gain a perspective that's so different. And you're like, oh, I understand why my mom did this.
Yes,
or
absolutely.
My dad did this, When I was younger, my mom, she went on a study abroad. So she had 4 kids, and she always wanted to finish her degree. She didn't finish her degree at BYU, but she wanted to finish it, and it was just so hard for her to do it here, which I could totally see now. So she ended up going on a study abroad. Can you even imagine?
Wow.
And we had a babysitter for 2 or 3 months,
and
then came back into that. And I think that was a great example to me of her accomplishing something while she still had kids. And, it was fine. We did great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you hope your own kids learn from watching you continue to chase your own goals and dreams?
I just hope that they see the sky's the limit. I mean, I hope they learn how to manifest what they want in their lives. I mean, all the time I'm pinching myself, how did I end up here doing something that I love so much? I mean, I literally could cry at my last show. I was just I don't know how I got here. How am I the luckiest girl in the world that I get to do this thing? Which I know some people would be I would hate to do that. But for me, I can't believe I've gotten to where I have. And I've had so many mentors along the way that have helped me. And I just hope that they can do that as well and get themselves whatever dream they have. I mean, I think Brian and I are both we would love them to do sports. But also if they want to be, the world's greatest scientist, I don't know, whatever.
Anything.
I would just love to see them reach for their dreams and keep going.
Your story has so many twists. You've been a cheerleader, you're a photographer, NFL wife, aerialist, you're a mom. What would you say keeps you grounded through all of those aspects in your life?
Being a mom keeps you grounded.
Yeah. Very true.
I remember one time I think it was during Seussical, there was a certain part of the routine that I was just not getting, and I really needed to get it. And I didn't have time. I mean, just as a mom, you really have to be efficient, especially if you're going to try to be a professional aerialist. And so I have to find times to train. It's just tough to fit my stuff in, because I'm never going to sacrifice my kids' stuff for my stuff. So anyway, that's all to say that I had to squeeze in this little practice, and I had to bring my kids, and I was okay. Okay, you guys sit over here, blah blah blah. And after, one of my friends, Jane, she was oh my gosh, that was so, because she doesn't have kids, so she was that was crazy to see you train as a mom. And she sent me this little meme of Beyonce at some award show giving a bag of snacks to her kids. And it was to your kids, you're just the mom, and so I could do all this cool stuff, but then I have to come home and do the laundry and do the dishes and check on the kids, and there's just always a list of things to do. And it's so yeah, I have maybe a glamorous moment, but I always have to come back home and just be the mom.
And be mom. Mm-hmm. I'm here with Jessica Kehl, former BYU cheerleader turned aerialist, photographer, and mom of 3. Jessica, you are incredible. Thank you so much for coming and taking the time. And you have just a beautiful personality, and you're a great person. Thank you so much for coming.
Absolutely. It's so great to meet you as well.
Thanks to Annie Robinson and Christy Solomon for producing this episode with senior producer Cleon Wall. Her Why is a production of BYU Radio.